Hey, Vikram.
Hi, good afternoon, Pawan. So, friends, today we would be covering up the data inferencing cycle, that how an organization can still do and attack scenarios and share the data among various companies and still comply to the DPDP Act. So, Pawan, what I would suggest that 5, 6 minutes I just cover up the context, set the context of the India Stack and then DPDP Act, and then what are we trying to achieve through data inference, the problem statement, and then
Mhm.
we can go through the demo.
Okay.
So we are referring to the India Stack, that's citizen stack, and how it can help any countries to ensure that their population can use and work on digital infrastructure. So this whole story started with the vision of Empower Rajni, where we were referred to that we create a unified digital infrastructure which is used by the population scale, and we are able to create a public tech platform. So not only the Indian population, but these technologies are also moving towards the global south and other countries. So their population can also be enrolled based on the citizens' need. So what we are in this TPI journey, we have been touched with the flow of people, where we have been having technologies available today, Aadhaar, eKYC, and eSign. And then we also have a payment enablement. In today's world, now it is so simple that we have UPIs and wallet and other things are already in place. It's seamless payment system working. And then we are also referring to the flow of info where a lot of work is still going on. And DEPA here stands for Data Empowerment Protection Architecture. And we have already implemented one use case of account aggregator where consent-based uh, data can be shared among the parties. So there are, we have a based on the Aadhaar and UPI payments. We have a Jandhan inclusion. We also have social services like DBT, Covin, and DG Yatra. And we are also working in addition to is the OCEN, is the Open Credit Enablement Network, and also the on the health side, and also on the ONDC. ONDC is already launched and available in the market. So now coming to the context which we are here today is the DPI for AI. We are talking about that how do we ensure that we are able to unlock the uh, proprietary data for the purpose of fine tuning the AI, as well as we are able to inference with each other and able to innovate along with the data economy, and also ensure that we are compliant to the DPDP Act or privacy is preserved. So we will just see that aspect also. So requirement in a nutshell, consent is given very high priority that personal data cannot be shared between the two organizations or within the group companies also without a consent to be a granular consent is taken. And of course, the purpose what forward data is being shared among users should not be forbidden by the law. In the nutshell, just a very brief, I'm sharing it here. So what we are saying is in a simplification manner, data processing here means the data collection, data storage, and data processing, everything. And innovation is allowed, but the consent, granular consent would be required for sharing the data and has to be purpose limited. We do not have any criminalization as the first offense, but we also have to prove that organization has taken a reasonable care to protect the privacy of the individual. So we need to see that how any organization which is sharing the data with any other organization, what reasonable care they have taken care to ensure that privacy of individual by the data fiduciary has been is being protecting that. So just to give you one example of the ad tech, where one customer logs in a particular travel portal, Just for an example, it could be Make My Trip or IRCTC, and at an appropriate place during a workflow, the generic consent is taken and data gathered by these travel portals are shared with the various banks or could be other insurance companies to make an offer. So travel aggregators say IRCTC or EaseMyTrips share passes the data with along with the historical data, if any. That entirely depends the bilateral contract they have, and bank based on the data which is it received from the any travel portal make an offer. For example, it could be insurance, it could be credit card, it could be within the credit card, platinum card, gold card, or no offer, or a silver card. So being so that RCTC gets the offer, it displays it to the customer, and if customer gives a consent and willing to proceed, it clicks on that offer and move forward. But once the DP Act gets notified, sharing the data by the travel aggregator to any other bank or any other organization, or even its to its group company is the challenging because it does not allow that PI data can be shared by group companies or a partner companies. And generic consent is not enough, and it has to be purpose specific, time bound, and also revocability. We have to give in options to the customer where they know that wherever they have given the consent, they should be able to revoke it as well. So keeping this in mind, in AI scenarios, we have two specific scenario of AI consumption. How do we ensure that we are able to inference to an AI model and consume that AI model for our purpose? And second is the training cycle where we are able to train the AI models. So that's where we create an AI model. So that we refer to here as AI production. Today in the our session, we are more focused on inference, but just to give a flavor of it, we will just share with you the production cycle also, a snapshot of it. So in the inference cycle, we have just seen that there are two aspects to go through is the consent or do we have a CCR? So CCR is a black box, which we will cover in the detail in next few minutes and we will see the demo as well, where we say that through a CCR, the privacy of the data is not shared with any other organization. So if we have a consent yes, then we are good to go. But we have to see that what kind of consent we have. Is it coarse grained, revocable, granular, purpose specific consent? But if we do not have these kind of things in place, then CCR helps from that perspective, where we can say that without the consent also, we are able to share the organization's data or individuals' data in a privacy preserving manner. So in CCR is the confidential clean room where data is shared in the confidential clean room, but it is not shared with the second party, the other organization. Similarly, in the training cycle where we are going to fine tune the AI models, similarly, we have a scenario where we have a consent or we do not have a consent. But in the training cycle, we use aggregated data. Having a consent of aggregated data, which are may run into millions of transactions, is almost very difficult or very challenging. So we will see that aspect also. So now coming to the data inferencing cycle framework, we have a three major players which we will see in the demo as well. One is the personal data provider here, and second is the personal data consumer. So personal data provider in our earlier example is say a travel portal, IRCT, which would like to pass the data to a personal data consumer, which will in turn generate an offer and give it back to the personal data provider. But here, what we are saying is that there would be a key management service which will be operated by an SRO, a self regulating organization, which will make sure that the data which is being shared by the PDP to the PDC is done in a clean, attested room area. So, this key management service operated by a SRO provides a confidence to the PDP that is what data it has been sharing remains into a compliant or intended purpose or in the intended environment only. So this enables the secure sharing of data for inferencing without fine-grained consent, and also supports secure enrichment of data in real time. So we'll see that in the demo aspect, that how key value service data enrichment and inferencing takes place. Moving forward, the training framework, we have a training data providers and we have a training data consumers, and then we have a confidential clean room, and we have a contract between the two parties. I'm not going in detail onto the data training framework, that we will cover into the second open house. So giving back to Pawan to share the demo around it, that how does it work, and PDP, PDC, and the key management service. Over to you, Pawan.
Okay, thank you, Vikram. So let me share my screen. Like Vikram mentioned, there are the left side is the personal data provider, which is IRCTC or MakeMyTrip, and the right part is the HDFC in the use case that Vikram talked about. That is a personal data consumer. So if you see that, this is the key value database has these entries. For example, there is a key that is sent from the personal data provider, which will be used in the personal data consumer context to pull some more information from the key value service. So whatever inference request that is coming from the personal data provider can be enriched with this extra data from the HDFC, which can be used in the inferencing. So if you look at here, this is the key value service. This is the key value database is having inside the key value service. You can consider this as a mobile number or some other identity, a way to sort of match the request coming from the personal data provider in the personal data consumer. So this is the key, and these are some of the elements in the key. And there is a value that is shown here as a platinum card, gold card, which is actually the kind of offer that can be given, for that particular passenger from IRCTC or MakeMyTrip case. And then if I look at, go ahead. You want to say something?
Just to say that personal data consumer, which is maybe a bank like HDFC, where they would be having some existing database already in that system of the CCR. Only they can push this data into that system, but never can take out this particular data. So that's an important aspect of key value service, where banks can push their data so that they can reference to that database whenever any inferencing request is coming from a travel portal like IRCTC. Go ahead, Paul.
That is correct. Yes. I mean, the data can be pushed in, but nothing can be really taken out of this CCR environment, be it any of these three services: key value service, offer front end, and offer service. So on the left side, if you look at the data, personal data provider, so you see that there is a, the KMS, which is what is providing the keys to both the data, personal data provider, data consumer. For the personal data provider, the KMS provides a public keys, whereas for the personal data consumer, it provides a private keys. So that is what is shown here. And then this is the endpoint where the offer front-end service, the PDC endpoint is the offer front-end service that this request is going to go to. And in this case, we are looking at, a request sent for one of the customers, Rajni Kausalya. And if you look at the request here, so these are some of the elements in the request, the identity of the bidding signal keys has identity of the particular customer. And there are a few bidding signals also sent here. For example, in the IRCTC case, the average amount spent by this particular customer or passenger, over like some duration, like 6 months or so. That is a kind of, the signals that we can send from the inference in the inference request. Yeah. So if you see, once you generate the offer based on this request, the offer is encrypted. And if you see that there are keys here, there is a public key that is coming from the KMS, right? Using which this entire inference request has been encrypted. And there is an offer that came through. In this case, for Rajni Kausalya, the offer came as a platinum card. Because, if you look at, on the key value database, for this particular number, there is the match is for a platinum card, with some limit on the amount of money on the credit card. And if you look at the logs that are, as part of this inferencing request, these are some of the logs that come through. Yeah, you can see that, there is an offer came in, inference request came in, and then there is a key value search happened. And then, yeah, so that is a key value output that is coming out. And then the offer is, yeah, so that is a key value search. A bidding service goes to bidding service, and finally the offer is encrypted again and sent back to the IRCTC side.
So once we implement this solution, these logs will not be visible to anybody.
That is correct. These are the logs in the debug scenario, but there will be other logs that will be available, but not to this extent that it reveals any privacy data information, any inference that has been generated. All these logs will not be visible.
Yeah.
So now we are looking at another scenario where there is a Tara Kausalya who has a number which is matching the QL database. But Tara, we are supposed to get the gold card as an offer. So let us see how it goes. So Tara Kausalya, the request has been sent with this request has been sent, and then there is an offer that is generated. You can see that there is a gold card that came back as an offer for Tara Kausalya. And the same process happens here. The key encryption, the public key is used to encrypt the inferencing request. And all the service, inter-service communication, everything is completely encrypted, even between the front end, the bidding service, and key value service. And once the offer has been generated, even that will be encrypted and sent back to the IRCTC on the PDP side, personal data provider side. Yeah. And we look at another scenario where is also possible that in the key value database we have a member doesn't have an entry, like the member is not one of the customers available in HDFC side, right? In that case, we can generate a default offer like Vikram was talking about as a silver card, or some default option we can do for those members who don't belong to HDFC, but we still want to give them some offer based on the inputs provided by the IRCTC. So if you see, that is a default offer provided by HDFC. If the member is not there, it doesn't have an account in their system, then the silver card has been generated as the offer there. So that's all from my side, Vikram. Back to you.
So, yeah. So what we are saying here is that this BRE business rule engine on the PDC side, on this right side, can be as complicated as possible as the particular organization wants it. It could be an ML model as well, or it could be fine-trained AI model as well. So right side is the offer generation process is entirely dependent on that particular organization, that how they want to make an offer. And the amount of data shared between the IRCTC or Make My Trip on the personal data provider side is entirely dependent on the contract in between the two. But the point here is to highlight is that whatever data is shared by the PDP on the left side to the right side on the PDC, no one can see that particular data, not even the PDC, not even the any cloud service provider also. So this is how this is done. And key management service, which is operated by the SRO, which it reflects on the PDP side as well as the PDP side, is that PDP, the left side, gets the public keys from the KMS, and on the right side, the PDC gets the private key from the KMS, which is the same KMS provides that private key to this, and it provides the key only once it attested the CCR that this is running a good known code, and this entire infrastructure is not compromised. Will you like to highlight the Pawan also this aspect of the KMS and SRO?
Right. So that is correct. So SRO is going to be eventually operating the KMS service, So the KMS service, like Vikram mentioned, is what is releasing the keys and to the data provider as well as the data consumer. But the release of the key happens only the CCR environment where these services are running is attested, for a known good code. So that is when the private key can be released to the CCR environments. So that means that the code is public, which is what is available, which is running in the services. And then and it is anybody can evaluate the code to see for any kind of gaps in that code, or etc. So but again, the other thing is that this is the same code that gets attested by the KMS environment. So that we can be sure that this KMS is attesting this code, and then the environment, right? Not just the code, the environment also attested by the KMS before releasing the keys. So that is also another mechanism to prove that we are running this entire process in a attested environment, KMS attested environment.
Right. And just to highlight that PDP could be on any cloud service provider or any infrastructure. KMS and PDC, the right side of the PDC, would be onto the same cloud service provider as of today, just to make sure that things works seamlessly. But KMS would be under the SRO tenancy, and PDC would be onto that particular organization tenancy, for example, the HDFC. The logs we are providing is today is only for the purpose of testing, but tomorrow this logs would be available only at the aggregated level. And these logs will not contain any PI data, but also enable the reconciliation between the PDP and PDC for the commercial purposes. So look forward. If there is any more question, please feel free to reach out to us. And myself available at 989-123-5600. WhatsApp can be sent. And we have not shared the email. So please reach out to me for any queries on a WhatsApp, message me, and I would be taking further the discussion forward with you and answer your queries. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pawan. Look forward for more discussion and interaction with you. Thank you so much for watching it.